I'm always interested in watching adaptations or interpretations of classic children's stories, and The Three Bears has to be one of my favourites. So when I realised that Iwerks did it for ComiColor in 1935, I was really looking forward to this. And I will say it was good, but it was a little slow. The whole thing's only about 7 or 8 minutes, so it's not a tremendously long cartoon, pretty standard for the time. But I felt like the pacing was just a little bit too slow. But ultimately, I liked it. And it's a pretty standard narrative. We have Goldilocks, who goes into the house of the three bears and interacts with things, and then ultimately the three bears come home and realize that things have been tampered with. Pretty decent standard narrative. And what's not standard is some of the things. It's not just a simple sitting in my chair, eating my porridge in my bed. There are other things she interacts with, and that's always appreciated. I always like it when there's a bit more creativity injected in there. The staircase, it's such a small thing, but there's a scene where the three bears are running up the staircases, and I say staircases plural, and it was just beautifully animated. There was something about it that was so great, and the animation quality is very good. It also has a brief, well, I say brief, it actually lasts quite a long time, but a mention of three blind mice, which I thought was quite nice, a nice way to bring in another popular children's rhyme. I thought that was a nice touch. I won't say exactly how it's incorporated, but it makes a lot of sense. It doesn't feel forced. It was a pretty fun thing to include. I thought it was okay. It's well animated. Visually, it's very engaging. It's definitely quite different to just the classic chairs, porridge, bed, which I thought was something nice to include. I didn't love the design of Goldilocks, but she's a pretty standard kind of little girl child animation for this time, so there's nothing wrong with it as such. It's just not to my personal taste. I quite like the Three Bears. I like the introduction of the Three Bears, where they kind of all stated their names, which I thought was rather amusing. Yeah, it's not too bad. If you're a fan of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, and like me, you like watching different, fun, more creative interpretations, then the ComiColor cartoon is definitely worth checking out. Yeah, the pacing's not great, but it was still pretty engaging and I still enjoyed it, and I think it's one I'd probably watch again.